come to order. Can we start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, I would ask that everyone silence their cell phones, please. Could we have a roll call?
Mrs. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Lauf?
Here.
Mr. Taylor? And Mr. Westfall?
Here.
Mr. Tchaikovsky?
Mr. Tchaikovsky, didn't answer. Mr. Brody, would you please come up on the stand, please? The Zoning Commission, Colerain Township Zoning Commission meets on the third Tuesday of each month at 7 p.m. in the Colerain Township Trustees Chambers, 4200 Springdale Road, Colerain Township, Ohio, 45251. As specified in Section 3.2.2, roles and powers of the Colerain Township zoning resolution, we hear zoning change requests, recommend either approval or non-approval, and forward them to the trustees or the legislative body for the township. This process is governed by the Ohio Revised Code. On tonight's agenda, we have a final development plan minor amendment. For a minor amendment to the final development plan, the zoning staff will make a presentation of the request. The applicant may also make a presentation of the request. The zoning commission will have a discussion by a motion to approve or deny, followed by a motion to approve or deny the request. The commission will then have a roll call vote. We also have an informal concept review that the zoning staff may make a presentation of the concept plan. The applicant may also make a presentation of the concept plan. The commission will have a discussion and make recommendations to the applicant. Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for the meeting on Tuesday, April 28, 2015. Is there any changes or corrections? None so appearing, the chair would entertain a motion to accept it.
So moved.
Seconded.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes of the meeting of Tuesday, April 28, 2015. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, I need to abstain. I was not seated at that meeting.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is a public address. Next on the agenda is the public address portion. This is where if you have anything that you would like to bring before the zoning commission that is not on the agenda, this is where you do it. Do we have anybody that would like to do that? Then so appearing, we'll move on to the next item. Minor change to a final development plan. Case number ZA 2011-04, Huntington Bank, Northgate Law. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Yes, we do. Thanks, Mr. Westfall. So, as he said, we have a minor modification to a final development plan. The applicant is Jeff Stogner for a proposed Huntington Bank at the Northgate Mall Outlet 2. The project summary, the applicant proposes to construct a now 3,180 square foot new branch office in a previously approved undeveloped pad off of the Northgate Mall along Colerain Avenue and Mall Avenue, or Mall Road, excuse me. Project's history: the preliminary development plan was originally approved on September 13, 2011, and a final development plan was approved November 20th, 2012. This was sent out to other agencies. The Hamilton County engineer instructed that no obstructions shall be permitted in the public right-of-way after reviewing the application. Grading within the right-of-way must conform to the most appropriate Hamilton County typical section. Lastly, Colerain Avenue is a state route, and as such, the Ohio Department of Transportation must be contacted. However, when ODOT was contacted, they had no additional comments as the direct access to the parcel is not from Colerain Avenue, but off of a driveway from the Northgate Mall. So here we have an aerial view. You can see the Northgate Mall to the northwest of the site, and Colerain Avenue is hugging the east portion of the parcel that they will be allocating. It's a zoned plan, business plan development, and it's completely surrounded by other business plan development with a few specks of B2 down southward. It's a little bit difficult to see, but this is the proposed site plan. So let's move on to our first review, which was of landscaping. So the streetscape buffer, which actually I'll just, well, okay. The applicant proposed a curved 15-foot streetscape buffer along Colerain Avenue where 15 foot is required, as you can see in the parking area, that it just kind of curves along the side to create a nice flow onto Mall Road. Applicant proposes 5 shade trees in the streetscape buffer along Colerain Avenue, where 5 are required. The applicant proposes that those 5 trees are shade master holly locust trees. However, they have stated that they're 2 inches DBH, where a minimum of 2.5 DBH is required per the zoning resolution. As part of the landscaping requirement in the streetscape buffer, the applicant proposes stone mulch to line up against the right-of-way. Details are shown in your packets. And the zoning resolution states that shrubs and hedges shall be planted at a minimum height of 36 inches. However, the applicant does not specify the height at time of planting for those various shrubs. For the parking area, landscaping, minimum of 15% is what they need. The applicant proposes over that at 4,462 square feet, where 15% would be 3,475 square feet. Applicant proposes a minimum width of 9 feet landscaped islands in the parking area, where a minimum width of 9 feet is required. There's 8 trees in total in the parking area, where only 6.3 trees are required, and they are over on their shrubs as well, for 20 shrubs where 18.8 are required. This is an overview of the landscaping that they propose. As for lighting, the applicant proposes a maximum illumination of 7.1 foot candles, where the maximum average permitted is not more than 2.0 foot candles. Apologize for this. You can't really see those wording. The zoning resolution also states that the light post cannot be more than 24 feet tall. We don't have a clear document stating that what height those light posts are proposed. And for signage, excuse me, applicant proposes a 6 foot by 8 foot illuminated monument sign to be placed on the southeast portion of the lot. For wall signage proposed, they propose them wall signage on all 4 sides of the building. Per the zoning resolution, it would only be permitted on the east and south elevation. So, the applicant for review of parking. Well, here we've got. These are some directional signage and the monument sign that they propose as well. I think we're missing a here. As for parking, the applicant proposes 47 spaces where only 13 spaces are permitted. However, section 13.3.4 states that an applicant must provide additional may provide additional spaces but shall be required to provide a minimum of 20% landscaping coverage within the parking area. The applicant does not meet that requirement as they only have 4,462 square feet proposed when 4,634.6 square feet would be required. And I think the staff report said differently, so I want to note that they do not meet that requirement. The applicant proposes 24-foot drive aisles where 24-foot is required. The applicant also has 9-foot by 18-foot parking stalls where 9-foot by 19-foot are required. And for the stacking spaces, per zoning resolution section 13.5.1, they are required to have 4 per drive-through lane. Applicant meets those requirements. And so we'll go down to other considerations. This is all. Impervious surface ratio. The proposed site has an ISR of 60%, where the maximum ISR is 75%. All right. So overall, staff recommends approval of the minor modification to the final development plan with the following conditions. 1, applicant shall state the height and/or DBH of all proposed shrubs and trees at the time of planting and must be within the guidelines of the zoning resolution as it states in section 14.4.4, landscaping materials. 2, applicant shall adjust the lighting levels proposed to meet the maximum average of 2.0 foot candles permitted across the property. 3, applicant shall identify the height of the light poles proposed and to not exceed a height of 24 feet. 4, wall signage shall only be permitted on the east and south elevation. 5, parking stalls shall be adjusted to meet the 9-foot by 19-foot requirement per section 13.4.3 of the resolution. And 6, applicant shall meet the 20% parking area landscaping coverage requirement given they exceeded the permitted parking amount. And that concludes the presentation.
Thank you. Does the applicant have a presentation?
Are they coming back to fix this thing?
Yeah, I'm glad that they fixed the microphones for us tonight. I apologize. It must still be in some case, some state of repair. I don't know.
Hi, I'm Matt Gramza, civil engineer and project manager for Civil and Environmental Consultants in Milford, Ohio, representing the owner, Huntington Bank, along with Jeff Stogner from Huntington and Abby Richards, design engineer from CEC. We, first of all, just want to say we appreciate working with the staff. I've been working on site approvals here for many years, probably almost 10 years now, and really enjoy working with your staff. Very professional, very helpful, and good communication. So we work with a lot of staff, and theirs is really, really good. We did get a copy of the staff report and worked through the conditions ahead of time with the architect and with the owner. We would like to challenge condition number 2 for site lighting levels, primarily from the standpoint of the ATM and drive-through area needs security lighting higher than the 2-foot candles. So we would like the ability to raise lighting levels in that location. And the other thing that the lighting consultants are kind of working against is the existing mall lighting. It's very tall. There's 2 light poles that remain, one on the north and one on the west, that we really don't have lighting control over at this point. So we, for those 2 reasons, we would like to at least be able to increase lighting around the perimeter of the building above the average 2-foot candles, and then work with you from there. The only other condition is wall signage, number 4. We, due to visual access heading southbound on Colerain with the retaining wall coming under the underpass and whatnot, we really need the wall signage on the north side of the building because our our monument sign is in the southeast corner at the intersection, which won't really be visual until, pretty much right getting upon Mall Road. We really would like to keep that wall signage on the north side to keep visual access, considering, the site is much higher than Colerain Avenue, and that building facade is going to be important to get, to get visual attention to the branch itself. So we're fine with not having signage on the east side, which is the side that faces the mall, but we would propose to keep the mall signage on the north side as well as the south and east elevations. The other conditions are fine. We can meet the other conditions.
Mrs. Smith, do you have any questions?
Yes, I'd like to clarify the number of parking spaces that you're proposing.
Right. The 47 parking spaces are what we're proposing, and a portion of those were required by the cross-parking agreement with the mall itself, primarily for Alta Beauty, because we are going to be removing the double row of parking that's right in front of their storefront now and replacing that with a single row and then a buffer of landscaping to come into our site. So that was one of the reasons why the parking is high, and then also to meet the overall parking requirements of the mall as well. We were open parked.
Let me make sure I understood that. So in other words, it's like shared parking?
Yes, on the west side of the building there, right along the store frontage. That's shared parking.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Lau?
My comments were very much to the same point she raised. Net, we're losing parking spaces from the building and everything else.
For the mall?
Yeah.
Yes.
And I assume that you and the mall are happy with that, and the shared parking, if they feel 47 is adequate.
Yes, as long as
I
we...
remember at the time we were looking at the major renovations of Northgate, we had aerial photographs of the mall parking lot at peak times, and there wasn't a lot of space to sit.
Right.
If they're happy, I guess I'm happy.
Yeah, they were happy as long as the shared parking
Yeah,
was
you aren't gonna
provided.
if you aren't a Huntington customer, you're going to get towed.
Right, and providing that parking, in proximity to Ulta.
In front of Ulta.
Yeah, yep.
Right. I don't know.
Mr. Taylor?
What's the square footage on the branch as proposed? I've got different numbers here versus what was in the staff report.
3,180 square feet.
Right, 3180 is correct.
Okay.
They submitted with smaller
Right. That's
square
what I'm
footage
looking at.
earlier, and
2793, or
where are you reading that?
it was in the packet that was,
That's off their letter.
off their submission letter,
Okay.
dated March the 3rd.
Okay, yeah, since then they have resubmitted
Okay.
an entire new site plan.
Okay. And the original,
Mostly the same, but the only difference was adding some square footage to the north and the south.
and it's less than 200 square feet total versus what the original development plan called for.
Correct. It's basically the same footprint of the building, but the previous submittal had,
There were some plant boxes.
2 areas of courtyard for landscaping, and Huntington decided they needed that for office space. So those actually came under roof, but under the exact same footprint.
We don't like stone mulch, but you got that from the staff report and you're willing to change that.
Right. Primarily our stone mulch is matching the streetscape in between the decorative fence that's going to go in and the existing retaining wall on Colerain.
Okay.
So that basically, we were required to design and continue that streetscape all the way to the intersection. So, we're going to be putting in the sidewalk, the decorative black fence, the landscaping, and the stone mulch. We assumed wanted to be consistent, all through that.
Okay.
So long as it's not going to be foundational plantings that are going to have the stone mulch over it, okay? Because we've had some issues at the movie theater with stone mulch, safety issues. So
Yeah, it's primarily just that kind of no man's land in between the decorative fence and the retaining wall. It's only like 3 feet, and
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
can't have something that's going to be maintainable in there.
Okay. I don't know how my colleagues will feel, but I understand your desire for brighter light than what code calls for, and it makes sense to me from a safety standpoint. Similarly, signage is a big issue for us because, you know, if we let you have a sign on all 4 sides or even 3 of the 4, the next guy's going to want it, and I mean, and we try to hold to our signage. Kind of see what you're saying though with the north side. You know, I understand what you're saying about traffic and the overpass and retaining walls. So I think I'm willing to probably let that one go. But again, I can't speak for my colleagues. Maybe something where you have to trade another one off to get that side. I don't know.
One thing we're looking at too, as far as total square footage of signage proposed versus allowable, even, you know, with just the 2 that you are allowing, we're still significantly under the square footage with the, you know, with the 4 originally that we proposed.
Even with 4.
Right. So we, like I said, we're willing to completely, you know, remove the west side facing the mall, and then if we can add on the north, but we'll still be under the total allowable.
Like I said, I understand, and I think I can live with that, but we'll have to see how my peers feel. I think that's all for me. Thank you.
Mr. Grody?
I have a safety concern in relation to the parking immediately to the west of the 3 drive-through kiosks. That's a good one to show it right there in that white area. Julia, if you could use your pointer thing to see if we can identify where I'm right in there. If I'm interpreting that correctly, it means that anybody who wants to park in those spots are either going to pull in or back in from that drive lane running between your proposed bank and the mall. And my concern is if somebody, is a traffic flow right there, especially if somebody pulled into those spots and then have to back out into that drive lane.
Right. And we did have this question come up with the initial approval. You know, right now there's a double row of parking that is in that same configuration where if someone was parked in the second row, that immediate row to the drive aisle still has direct access in front of Alta. So I think we're actually improving that situation from the standpoint of our entrance has been relocated to the north to line up with the drive aisle that runs along the east-west side of the mall, whereas right now it's offset. So right now that entrance is closer to Mall Drive, and which creates, you know, a bad cross traffic situation. I think that improvement will help, but you're right, you still will be accessing, you know, directly from the drive aisle. Again, those were required for the shared parking agreement, so those really are for Alta. And their storefront is right, you know, right in the middle of that row pretty much.
Where do you anticipate employees of the bank parking?
Where do you think?
Where do you?
Either there or toward the ingress off of Mall Drive.
Okay.
But up there's not a bad location.
Yeah, I was thinking that might, if you had employees parked there, it would also keep customers from trying to cross 3 lanes of drive-through traffic. I mean.
Yeah, really, I think the biggest reason we put that there was for that all.
Right, yeah, originally we had that all landscaped in a buffer, and that was, you know, shot down from the standpoint, again, that we're removing quite a bit of very close parking for Alta that, you know, they obviously are interested in.
What's your peak number of employees during the day at a branch like this?
9 to 10.
How much?
9 to 10.
10.
9 to 10.
But to your point, that is an easy spot for us to ask our employees to park. It's a good location because we want to free up as much as we can around the building for that.
I mean,
Ulta
you know,
may be unhappy if you do that.
to Mr. Grody's point, they still have to back out or pull out at some point, but at least it's in once and out once, and not people in and out all day long. So, yeah.
And we-
9 in the morning, or 5 at night.
Right.
It's after those hours, before those hours.
Right.
And I recall, and it was confirmed by the minutes from the November 2012 meeting where we initially approved this, there was a lengthy discussion about those parking spaces. And I think what boiled down to was Alta absolutely had to have it or else they weren't going to come. And we talked even about making the configuration better, like as in like slanting them so that it's a in and back out, and then you're on your way, making the movement a little bit more safe. But ultimately, the consideration that won the day in November 2012 was we wanted an anchor tenant, and we wanted that anchor tenant to be Alta, and they required it. So that's kind of where we were back in 2012, and this is just sort of a vestige of that conversation.
Parks there's going to have a heck of a time during peak mall traffic hours.
Yeah. December 24th is not the day to park there.
Well, December 24th, there is no
Oh, okay.
good parking there.
If you could explain for me also, I was looking on the same diagram here on the page C200, and number 18 is considered a service patio and 19 is a equipment patio, and either one of those you're proposing to put a dumpster in there. But on your landscape drawings and so forth, it all shows that there's concrete parking bumpers and landscaping in there. How are you going to put a dumpster in either of those two places, and how's the truck going to access that to empty it?
Can I address that? Sure. What we use is we call a confidential refuse bin. We use what we call a confidential refuse bin. It's about 4 foot by 4 foot, about 5-6 foot tall. And it's accessed only by the cleaners at night. It's a lock thing. So it's not a traditional dumpster as in you think. It'll be in a screened in yard, totally inaccessible and unviewable from the public on all sides. So it's not a traditional dumpster with a truck that comes in and picks it up and dumps it. They actually, once a week, once every 2 weeks, the company comes and they physically pull the bags out, walk them, and throw them in the back of their truck. So it's not a traditional dumpster per se.
Okay. When do you plan to open?
We plan to open January, February of 16.
Okay.
So we've got a location down the street where we're relocating now. So.
That's all I have, Mr. Westphal.
I'd like to, excuse me, I'd like to address the signage. As Mr. Taylor said, you know, you need all the signs you can get. But my thing on it is, will we be able to work through staff? And if they get a north elevation sign, make the east and the south one a little bit smaller, so the square footage would come out about the same?
Sure. So you're, what are you proposing? It would be the Colerain facing side would be the sign that they proposed.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So put one on the north side and make the one on the east side and the south side smaller to make up for what they're going to put on the north side.
Okay. So are we talking about 4 sides?
No,
3. So north, south, and east.
Right.
And cut the north and south in half, basically.
Well,
There's,
it wouldn't have to be half, but just make them smaller.
okay. Just smaller.
Or what do my colleagues think of that?
You know, I don't have any heartburn over it. When I saw the wall sign going on the east and south, I thought if I were the applicant, I'd certainly want it on the north.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense to me. So I don't have any heartburn over doing that.
I don't think
I do.
it's their under.
You know, I wouldn't worry about.
And wall signage isn't so much the scourge; it's the monument signs that.
And I look at it and say, this building is going to be a plus to that corner. And
No doubt.
I don't think there's anything wrong with having a sign on the north, and I wouldn't worry about the square feet myself. But that's you said your colleagues' opinion, you got it.
I know when I ask for it, I get it.
I do want to say that the south elevation signage is only proposed to be 38.4 square feet when they are permitted to have 74.8 per, so they're well under on that. So,
Okay, I'm good with that.
I'm
So make them all 38.4. Is that, are we okay with that?
So what they're showing us.
38.4
Yes.
on the northeast
And then just take the
northeast and south elevation. The only one that was different was the west, which was only 29.4 square feet, so.
and
Yeah.
get rid of that
Off the
one.
west of that, I have no problem all of them.
Okay.
Okay.
I also agree with that you need more foot candles and illumination around the drive, the
ATM.
ATM, and at night, and I can't visualize what 7.1 foot candles.
You know, it's so esoteric, the foot candles. It's really difficult to parse out, 2 versus 3. But I think that the way that the code is written is it's an average across the entire site. So if you need to boost on one side, you drop down on the other. I don't think that, if you'll recall, BW3s came in with, and they requested 40 foot candles average across the site. I mean, it's like Paul Brown Stadium. 7 is not going to be noticeable to
Car
them.
dealers all like that.
Right.
Yes, car dealers are well above. The difference between 7 and 2 is very nominal, I believe. And if the case that's being made is that it's for security, especially at a bank, and especially given some of the incidents that we've had around, I think that it's worth it.
Okay, I have no problem with that.
So you're saying 7 would be what we propose now instead of 2?
7.1.
7.1.
Yeah,
As the average.
yeah, and that's what's shown right now, right? Does that work
Yes.
for you, Matt? Yes.
And you're happy with the security lighting you've got? The lighting
Yeah, so
that you
the-
submitted gives you the security you want around ATMs and so on?
Yeah, so, the
And that-
ATMs themselves will have lighting on them that
Lots of
provide
light.
that security.
And that leaves you with 7.1 average across the site?
Yes.
Okay.
So approve the lighting plan as submitted. They were fine with that. Very good. Very good.
Then the only other thing I had, and I know this is not a perfect world, but I just can't imagine that building goes right up into where all their parking has been since they opened. And I know this is not a perfect world. In order to get that in there, that's what we have to do. And I don't have anything against it. But
You're talking about those west parking spaces?
yes, because that goes right up there, right in their front yard. And it doesn't bother me, and it might bother my spouse some. But it doesn't bother me.
Now she can park in the middle and do her banking in.
Yeah, we're
Oh,
typically,
right.
it's a lot of work.
Okay. Does anybody else have any more questions?
On our paperwork that we received in the conditions and so forth, you only had 5 conditions listed on it, but I heard 6.
Correct. In the staff report, as I was going through it, I realized that that was a mistake for the 20% parking, or the 20% landscaping coverage that is required for having overage on your parking. So that was a mistake. So this is just an added condition today.
And the applicant is comfortable with that?
So what was the?
Reread that last
Yeah.
condition.
Yeah, would you please reread it?
Sure. The applicant shall meet the 20% parking area landscaping coverage requirement given they exceed the permitted parking amount.
So let me make sure I understand that, because I didn't catch that either. So right now, currently, there's how much of the site is landscaped?
So they meet the 15% requirement initially, but then once you have more parking than is permitted, then you can do so only if you have 20% landscaping of the parking area, and they don't quite have that much. So
How much have they got?
I didn't do the percentage, but I did
But it's,
the square footage, which.
At this point, the site looks really, really tight. I can't imagine how we're going to eke out any more square feet of landscaping than what's shown there. Matt,
Yeah, I think we're close. One of the concerns we have with all our bank branches is, keeping the landscaping around the perimeter of the building to a minimum from a security standpoint.
Right.
So we definitely keep that in mind. All those are low plantings and shrubs and whatnot. We may be able to add a few more shrubs in the.
It's
the tree
only
lawn.
the requirement, 4,462 square feet is proposed, when 4,634 square feet would be required.
So that's,
So it's not a lot, but
10 by 15 area.
yeah, you're talking about less than a parking space. I think that we can strike that. Yeah.
What was the condition about meeting the parking space requirements of 9 by 19? What's proposed?
9 by 8.
proposed is 9 by 18.
Can you meet 9 by 19?
Yes. Yeah, we took a look at that as soon as we got the staff report, just did a quick sketch up, and it will lose a little bit of, impervious, green space, but not much, just a couple foot strip along the south and 1 foot strip along the west, and then just a little bit less entrance, concrete walkway into the bank. So we can make it work.
Any other discussion? The chair would entertain a motion on case number ZA 201104, Huntington Bank Northgate Mall minor amendment. Mr. Taylor?
I didn't get the staff report, so I don't have it in front of me.
I'll make a motion that we approve case ZA 2011-04, Huntington Bank Northgate Mall minor amendment in agreement with the conditions listed in our report, with number 6 being added that wasn't printed in our report.
Strike it.
Strike it.
We're taking that.
Strike it out.
Okay, striking that, and with the agreement of the signage being of a consistent amount on the north, east, and south sides.
An average of 7.1
foot
candles.
Yes.
Those three, yep, got
You
it.
got it, right?
Got it.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the minor amendment for case number ZA 2011-04, Huntington Bank Northgate Mall. We have a roll call, please.
Mr. Grody?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Lauf?
Aye.
Mr. Westfall?
Aye. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the,
Thank you.
thanks. Good luck. Next on the agenda is a public hearing. We have none tonight. Next on the agenda is an informal concept review. It's a change of zoning for 3541 and 3551 County Road from R6 residential to P1 neighborhood business district. Does the staff have a report?
We do not.
Will the staff remind me what an informal review protocol is?
Sure. So the,
This is just us,
We just talked
they're,
about-
they're trying to say, are we gonna expect machine guns?
Right, exactly. So the process is, before somebody engages in a very long, lengthy process, they want to get an opportunity to pitch the idea and receive feedback that they can incorporate into their application to make it a better application. Or perhaps the sentiment of the board is, geez, I don't know, but it's an opportunity to engage with the commission.
Okay. What, members of the board?
Is the applicant here?
applicant, yeah. So the presentation, generally, the applicant will make a presentation.
Does the applicant
Yep.
have a presentation?
Just very informal, Mr. Chairman.
This is an informal review.
Yes, I've been here before. It's been a while since I've done any developing, but the proposal is such that
What's your name, sir?
Rick Davis,
Thank you.
R&K Developers. Been in business since 1980. Done some developments here in Colerain, Montford Heights, White Oak, and around town. So I appreciate the opportunity for this informal method. What I would like to do, since recently acquiring 3541 Banning Road, do you all have, I'm sorry, but I thought maybe you were equipped with the, you all got a copy of the letter. Good, that's the one I want. Okay, mine is very colorful. And I thought that this was the same tool that you would have gotten, maybe not. But the proposal is such that, in my letter, I stated that there's several things, several fold, this informal discussion. From Banning Road, south, the corner, it houses White Oak Mower. There's some residential buildings very close to Blue Rock. And in my letter, I state that that's a busy corridor now, as we know. Right now, currently, the Hanley Road, Banning intersection, Blue Rock intersection is money has been spent to improve that. There is no more money there, for that intersection. They're currently working, as you know, further down behind the old Ohio to make an ingress egress. Actually, I've been to all the meetings. It's actually a staging process to park cars to keep the northbound lane, that arrow open, so that it doesn't back up all the way to the bar, Knotty Pine, so that emergency vehicles can move through that choked area right there. So that's a great picture. So, we've got to the west, we've got the landscaping company who recently, since this printing and the last map made, maybe 2006, the houses along there, the residential corridor fabric is being dropped. As we know, there's 4 houses that have been removed from this printing. They're going to the wayside. And I guess what I'm here for is just kind of an informal discussion, because I know what's going to happen to the intersection at Blue Rock and Cheviot. They're going to make a candy cane turn lane there. That's slated to go. I have a business at 30. Geez, you think I would know my address? 3564. Can I just? Yeah, sure. I have a business that is. Where's the camera?
So the mower shop's on the corner, right?
Yeah, this is the mower shop.
Right, okay.
This is currently a residence. This is.
It is used as a residence?
Correct. That is a rental unit. This is the mower shop's, fabricating, storage, washing area. This is where sales are done. And Mr. Walter was unable to be here. He's also on my letter to you. He owns all this down to, actually this house has been removed. This is very current. This house is not here. Jeff just removed the landscaping, just removed this one. There's one here that just got removed. So what's happening is, I think in good faith to the community as to what is happening to this corridor, there was proposal, I don't know that it's going to happen, but sidewalk, they were going to widen here all the way through Deadman's Curve is the future, but there's no money for that right now, to get this traffic to the 275 interchange. This is a well-beaten path, for dumping the community. So the zoning as such, it's very difficult for businesses. Residents are dropping. The rent, the type of rent, the renter mentality of people that you get is very poor. Looting, Mike's been broke into. It's just bad. So the residential gig is leaving. Okay. Mike came close to tearing this one down. It's not worth the taxes and everything. He would rather, look to this corner for a Thornton's or somebody, for his retirement. But his idea for the future is to get this traffic that ingresses and egresses. I have, my business is right in here.
And you have that
you.
machine shop or whatever
Yes.
that goes all the way back?
That's correct, right here, the Black Roof
Yeah.
building.
Yep.
That is a machining business. It used to be Arsco Radiator Company. I put this in for development back in '06. Came to this, before this board, a different board, but came to the board to do this very thing that we were talking with Huntington Bank. I had to put this island in for the very reason you guys were worried about the traffic backing directly out into the thoroughfare. So this was a design thing so that I could, there's a business in here, she does very well. And I went through the foot candles and the lighting and all that back in the day. But what I want to do on the 3541, what I want to have considered, and I know this is not a proposal, that I'll be here with my architect and my civil engineer someday, but the way it is right now, you know, when UDF turned, it was, used to be in this, the strip building was here, now the
That was
super
a
UDF
god-awful-
turned.
What was that?
It was a little strip mall.
That was the one we had the problem with the cars being parked there.
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Terrible, terrible. So with this type of island separation,
Yeah.
you're pulling back the business.
Yeah.
That's what this corridor, the future of this corridor, the way it is. I mean, that's, people are gonna stop and get their coffee on the way because it's 2 minutes to the highway. I mean, those are the businesses in a B1 that are gonna make it. The problem is, it's too narrow through here. Right in my area, it's it's choked down as I speak in my letter, and I think I used the word, I read it again sitting there, I think I used the word twice, and you should never repeat a word twice, I used the word choke. But I recently acquired this building, and what I would like to do.
That is the residence.
Yes,
It's,
yes. And what I would like to do is, because right in here where the trees are, it's very tight. And the proposal, the future, is to do just like that, just like Jeff's doing. He's pulling back. He's got parking in here. He's cleaning up the corner. People can get in and off the corridor. These two buildings, time is limited on these two buildings. I mean, Mike's plan, and I came very close to being the developer for him, is to put a strip center, him being the anchor, with like, I don't know if you guys know Clyde Mower Sales, those types of things where the anchor is the mower shop, and then the coffee shop, the, you know, the slots of, so, but you have to pull that back. When you do that, you have to pull that back, and your parking becomes in the front. My proposal or my discussion is the fact that this zoning, the B1 to the residents, is just too tight through here. My proposal or the discussion that I wanted to have was that we consider changing the residential line to the, in this area, you can see, mine is very colorful. This is the property I just bought, and it makes sense.
I mean, it drives the line right. from the
Right,
back of
and it
yours.
almost lines up. Currently, you know, Meyer Landscaping, who's my buddy of mine, I mean, he currently has an ingress egress here through residential. Of course, he owns all these, and he rents them, all the way down Banning, all the way down to the next street, the subdivision. What I'm looking at doing is have an ingress egress to Banning, because this light is horrible right here to get out for my gal that is Treasured Friends. The light right, go down or slide the picture up. The traffic light right there. This intersection is.
And I'll tell you, Dr.
Yes,
Crimer
Crimer.
is a great endodontist,
Oh my gosh.
and his parking is a nightmare.
Well, the one thing that I had a beef with him was he had 2 slots right here. And when I went through this, he's a buddy of mine. You know, this is not good here for him.
No, it's terrible.
You know, he can't get out of there. So the light is actually, it's somewhere right in here, because here's the stop line, and it just stacks up 8 to 9, 5 to 6 in that range. It's impossible to get out of here. I need for her and well, mainly for me, to have other ingress, but I'm looking to the future. I'm saying that this, I want to legally move about and have the B1 widen through there.
Who owns 3551, which is, that's sort of.
Good point.
That is sort of behind White Oak.
Yes, Mike bought that back in 07 or 08, so he owns it.
So what we've got, could you just sort of indicate to me here,
Yeah.
who owns what?
Yeah, this is all
Right
owned by
now.
Mr. Wall
All this.
and this
So
3551.
that's his.
And you know where that 3551 came from? He bought this house 7 years ago, pulled that property off of it, and then resold it, the house.
All right.
Because he was already starting
You have to think, right. yeah.
to widen the
Now
corridor.
who owns this?
Me.
You.
That is
But what's this little piece in there?
That is a glitch in property ownership. I own it, it actually has a little deed on it, I pay taxes on it.
Well, I've got one like that myself.
It's just goofy.
Is the house you recently purchased, is it inhabited?
Yes.
So you're renting?
It is.
And 3570 is owned by, that's the residence right now.
3570 has been demolished.
Okay.
There was a permit to pull that house down, that is gone. Currently, there's a
So the
little park.
3572
Mhm.
is owned by.
Mike.
Okay.
That's the rental house?
And who
And a
owns,
rental, yeah, two
who owns
houses.
the strip of property 3570 was on?
3570, Mike.
All right, so his, so really his is all of this,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yours is that,
That's correct.
and then you own this and this.
So what I'm saying is we try to straighten this
Yeah.
zoning through here because it almost lines up with what is B1. It's just choked down. See this corner right here? We can't even move about in there. It's very tight. It's dangerous.
Getting in and
To
out of.
get trucks in and out, it's impossible. So what we
I
can
know the
do,
White Oak more and getting in and out
yeah,
is a killer.
so we could make a lane right over to, keep it residential right now. I don't know what the future is, but I'm before the board to legally say, hey, this is what I want to do. It benefits a couple businesses in there, and it's the future. It supports the future.
One other question, if you know the answer. Is this lot here, which goes all the way down past the end of yours?
I'm
right?
very interested in that.
Well,
I don't have any money.
well, but my question is that now tied to this? Because at
This
least
is-
this shows.
This is Dr. Gow. You've got to move down 3 properties. This is Dr. Gow owns this, and he rents it. He owned this, he owned all this. He owns this field, this rental, that's a garage to the
And the
rental.
garage though
And he
straddles
lives
the
here.
property line.
Yes, but he owns those properties.
Yeah, okay.
But he lives here. So, there's a great buffer. This field that's in here is a great buffer for the future.
I just walked.
And just the way it lays, it just kind of makes sense. It just, the time is limited on these houses. If Mr. Walter be here, he would tell you, he's 9 years old, he's 16. And his retirement is his property. He's worked all his life there, and so that's his plan to develop it into something. And he thought that his daughter is running the business, and so I approached him as, he would make a good anchor if the mower shop remained, if it, can survive in today's age. And today, we're in a replacement world where we just buy a new mower, but that's his business. But, to put an anchor in there and then maybe some strips, but you need the frontage to do it, and it's just too tight in there, and I thought this was the prime time to propose it. So,
Just comment.
Yeah.
We can, just have kind of formal discussion, yeah.
Mrs. Smith, do you have anything to give him?
Not given, maybe to ask you now, 3541, are you proposing that still to be rental property for a single family home?
yes, it is. Yes,
Okay, but you want to change it from business, from resident to business?
to be one, yes, yes. And the purpose of that is, the office or the house could become an office. It could be, something along the guidelines that would fit. Right now, all through the corridor, all the way extended into Montford Heights, Green Township. I just built a garage. What they're entertaining over there is single-family residences are converting to mom-pop shops, and they're saying, "Hey, you can have a garage," and we entertain that. It's kind of mixed. It's merging, and I just did one on Chevy Road, and so they're entertaining that mixed use where you have a house, maybe the plumber lives there, and he has a garage, or whatever, and very very well the house could serve for the business owner, that he rents or owns it and goes to the business.
Mr. Davis, let me
Yeah.
interrupt you for a minute.
Sure.
Hey, young man, do you have any questions for us tonight?
Nope.
No? Okay.
What I need to know is if I got covered now.
Okay.
Are you here studying us?
Tell them why you're here.
Yeah. I have to attend a community meeting, and then I have to have my opinion on an issue, and then why I for it or against it.
You got what you needed tonight?
We might do that.
Okay.
So what did you think the way this place was run? Does it look professional?
Yep.
And it's community service.
Well, good for you.
The citizenship of the community.
All right.
Good for you.
Tell them whatever committee you work on.
I'm also working with the coloring communities.
It's cleanup service.
Yeah.
I think the title is
Great.
very good.
CCA.
What troop do you belong to?
228.
Where's that?
8/28.
828.
You should have looked.
Where's that one?
It's at the Grossbeth United Baptist Church.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks, guys, for letting me come.
Welcome. Anytime. Sorry, I just wanted.
I was a den leader and then I became a scout leader. My kids went through that. It's a pretty mature kid.
Sir, what is the zoning on all of these pieces of property right now?
Everything through there is B1.
B1?
Yes, and then
Okay.
residential changes. This is still, Mike broke that off but didn't change it. So we would like to widen the B1 to here and have that straight line through there.
3551 is still residential.
Yes.
So it still lives there now.
Yeah, and he's in favor of this. His name is on my letter. He was supposed to be here, but whatever.
For give you my 2 cents, I went in there and walked it today, and I think this makes perfect sense.
Oh, good.
I think that it's been a while since I've been out to this corner. As I say, I use White Oak Moore sometimes.
Mhm.
The corner is horrific.
Yeah.
I've been to the Dr. Kramer, that's horrific.
Mhm.
So I understand all those problems. I was very pleasantly surprised by that UDF that was put in there where we had that junk car place that was there for so long. I looked at it, and I think the proposal makes perfect sense to make that B1. And I would encourage you guys to almost think bigger. I mean, I looked at it and said that would be, I should think, a very developable piece of property.
I do too. I agree with you. I think from the
You ought to
interchange,
be able to find something that would be a real asset.
from the Knotty Pine Bar, once they figure it out and get the money through there, I mean, they're getting it as they get it. They're doing it. I've talked to the Hamilton County. As a matter of fact, Mark McGowan and those guys were in the sewer ditches when I first went into business, and now they're main players. But I talked to them as far as that corridor goes through there. That's the plan. That's the future of that corridor. And once that opens up, we're going to have less traffic problems, but we have to be able to pull the buildings back. These little tiny houses are old. The foundations leak. Like I say, Mike came real close to tearing that one down. He asked me to tear it. I tore the other one down for him. This one, he didn't even want to screw with the rent, just because he doesn't get good rents. This currently now this is dirt in this picture, but now it's a park. It's a park-like setting, and it's very limited. So you got to get off. You got to pull back, and that's what everybody.
Well, the fact too that those lot lines line up so neatly.
Yes.
And that you've got a buffer for that next residential. Now,
Yeah.
I could see somebody coming in here and say, look, why don't you take the business into those next 2 lots?
Mm-hmm.
That would be a tougher judgment call, I think, to say, where do you draw the line? But to draw the line here, to me, makes perfect
Yeah,
sense.
well, it almost lines up with it. It's just too tight.
What is your timeline on this?
As far as developing, I would say in the next probably 10 years, you're going to see something go in there. And just talk with Mike, because I know Mike's plans. I know what his retirement plan is. Mike actually.
Think bigger, and he may be able to move up his retirement.
And I would like to do that. I would like to do that. I'd like to propose to him that we do something. that, that maybe make it more comfortable for him. I mean, he's worked all his life. I used to pump gas at the golf station. You guys remember when golf was there? We had on the corner, there was a golf gas station where the mower shop is. That was a single island golf gas station. And I pumped gas there when it was 19, we had gas wars. It went as low as 19 cents one Saturday. It was a quarter.
Jeff, isn't his timeline kind of similar to that of the gentleman from White Oak Garden Center?
Yeah, the full build-out of Mr. Webler is about 10 years, but Mr. Webler is getting after it. He wants to go faster than he's going to do it in phases. So you'll see.
Jeff's a buddy. We all kind of work through there.
Yeah. I mean, and if the quality of the development that you're talking about is anywhere near what Mr. Webler was talking about, I mean, it'll be embraced with open arms.
Yeah.
A lot of what you're saying when it comes to cross-access easements and allowing access to multiple sites that aren't right off of Cheviot Road is just, that's what's needed.
You can't work with this right now. I mean, anybody that comes in is just going to stay quo, right? It's not going to work. And in case in point, Jeff is already, his side is very comfortable, kind of zigzags, but it's very comfortable over there. He's dropped 2 houses and acquired the corner and the one along that private drive, that gravel road.
Hermes or
Hermes, yeah.
Yeah.
So they dropped that. So it's cleaning up nice. So,
Mr. Chairman, I don't think we take a vote on this tonight, do we?
no.
Okay. I would suggest we
I
move on.
think we probably discussed it enough.
I think we're all for it.
Yeah, we're okay.
Okay.
I'm the one who usually doesn't like to
Yeah.
let business creep. But
Yeah.
I'm okay with
Well,
it.
and that was the whole intent, just to, informal, and I welcome the, when Becky told me that, this is what you want to do, it's cheap, it's free.
Yeah.
Now, when you come back, it might not be the 5 of us, and they might all poop.
Hey, I would, when I come back, I will have spent much more money. I can already.
Two familiar faces. So,
Thanks for everything.
okay, next on the agenda is old business. Do you have any?
No.
Next on, after that's new business, do you have any?
No, I just would want to maybe take at some point during this, take the opportunity to tell you a little bit about what's been going on with the comprehensive plan.
Okay.
I don't know if it's now or. Sure. Okay, so we've had, this month has been, it's been a whirlwind of a month. I mean, we've had night meetings every week. Mr. Westfall has been at all but one, I think.
2 out of 3.
Yeah, 2 out of 3, which is fantastic. We've got another one tomorrow. We've got another one next week. We were at the Northgate Mall for Colerain Township Safety Day or whatever. We were able to interact with a number of people there. It's been difficult and a little bit disappointing, to be quite honest, with the amount of engagement that we're getting. And the question that we always ask is, how would you like to be communicated with? Like, how do we get this word out? And it's a perennial problem. But we've gone social media, we've gone newspaper, we've gone television, and aside from knocking on doors, I'm not sure what else we can do. So, but the feedback that we're getting is really encouraging, I think. I mean, the way these meetings have been structured is a discussion of assets. What is meaningful to you in your neighborhood, and followed by a discussion of opportunities for improvement. And then the really fun part is when everybody, we roll out a big map of the neighborhood, and everybody's with the markers marking up, this is a problem property, and this is an area that I'd like to see fixed. And it's just really exciting. I mean, those processes are the reason that I get excited about planning. So it's been fun to watch. We're getting lots of input, though the numbers of folks have been low, and there's always opportunity for anyone else to come out. So tomorrow night we're going to be at Blue Rock in Livingston at the church there, and next week we're going to be at the Viniclet Winery. So that's good. And then as we move out of May into June, we're going to take all that information and distill it down into something that we can share with you all. And at that point, we're going to have a couple of focus groups with the business community. With in the fall, I guess we'll be talking with the students. When school starts back. So we want to get the perspective of youth in Colerain, and then we're going to have a rollout meeting where we said we came out, listened to you, and this is what we think you said. And then we'll be able to sort of digest any input at that point. We'll make a couple more tweaks, and then we'll have a draft. So, yes, sir.
Police department and the other departments in township.
Definitely, yes. They're gonna be on the technical advisory committee. So there's gonna be a separate. You guys are the comprehensive plan advisory committee, and then there's gonna be this technical advisory committee that sort of sits over here. That's gonna be all the agency folks, and Director Malloy, Frank Bergenauer will be. Yep. So that's that, and then our goal is to have a draft, in the fall, and start taking this through the formal approval process, in November, December-ish time. So that's the goal, and we'll keep marching towards it.
Speaking of Livingston, it looks like the Liberty Healthcare Facility is close to opening. Do you?
I wouldn't say that. They still have.
Okay,
yeah.
outside.
Right. Yeah. Well, so they have. They've finally pushed that hill over. They've graded the property, which is nice. Well, and that's been an issue, and I think that's going to be an issue at that site. There is an incredible amount of light that's coming off of that site, and I just cannot imagine that that's in keeping with the lighting plan that they submitted. So we've been getting a number of complaints about that. We're very sensitive to it. And when the time comes to do a zoning, their final review, we'll have a light meter there at night to make sure that, because it is bright. Boy, it's bright. Yeah. But yeah.
I've just seen the lights on in the morning, like at dawn.
Right.
So it's bright enough outside that I don't realize how
Yeah.
bright the lights are.
Right. Sanctuary Point, if you haven't driven past there, is looking really sharp. That's at Crest and Hamilton. That one's probably going to come online before the Livingston.
They were a couple of years after Liberty.
Yeah. So and boy, does that look good. I'll tell you, it looks really good. The building. Yep.
It really does look good.
That's right. And if they can fix their stormwater problem, then they'll be a great new addition.
Okay. Administration,
Nothing.
announcements. Okay.
It's been fun.
Now that we're at the end, I'd like to thank Mr. Mills for all his service to the community over the last, how long has it been, 2.5 years? I've enjoyed working with him. He's a professional. He's taught me things, and I do appreciate that. And we're going to miss you, buddy.
I concur with all that.
I appreciate it, Tom, and likewise, the feeling is so mutual. I've learned so much from you all, and it's been so, you look back at the pace of development in the last 2.5 years. I mean, it's like, it makes your head spin a little bit, and it's been so much fun to work through all these issues with you all, and I appreciate it. Thank
I
you.
think you caused that because when you came, it was set still.
Yeah.
When you came, man, it took off.
Where are you moving on to?
Did you fix it?
I'll be worried.
Did you fix the national economy?
I'll take credit for getting out of the
There were
recession.
about 3 years where the retailers were absolutely
Doing nothing,
Yes.
right? No, I'll be transitioning to an economic development role at City of Covington.
Are they, I would assume there's a search committee that filled your position?
Yes, and my understanding is there were 2 successful applicants. There's going to be there may be a slight restructuring in the department, and my understanding is there will be a director and a deputy director. So we've had the opportunity to talk with all the candidates, and boy, I'll tell you, I mean, you guys are going to be in good hands. Very intelligent and qualified planners that care, and that's so you're going to be all right.
Well, I wasn't worried.
No, yeah, they're great. They're going to be great. Thank you. Yep.
That's good. We got it good. Okay, the next meeting is June 16th, 2015.
I will not be at that meeting.
Okay. The chair would now entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second that.
We moved and seconded, we adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, meeting adjourned.